Nice to meet you.
Yeah,
Nice to meet you too.
I love the background. The background's so much better than ours.
much better.
Oh, are we live?
Yeah, well,
Recording.
yeah.
Oh, okay. It's a thing.
Oh, it's a background. We were just
That's
playing on
what
with them
people listen
before.
to.
Smart, smart.
I
Yeah,
went just between us. I went to Bravo and I stole some from like different TV shows.
that's such a good idea.
It is like that's
Pretty great. I recognize where
Anyway,
you come from.
just between us.
Nobody will ever know.
no
Yeah,
secret.
don't tell. I'm waiting for somebody to recognize one of the backgrounds, though. I'm like,
You
let's
would think
see
they
if
would.
they find out whose background I chose.
You
Yeah,
should do Friends. Everyone will recognize that.
Oh,
exactly. Oh, that's a good one. I should do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Everyone be like, where's that? Is that
everybody
me?
be like, hang on a
Wait, did
minute.
you write my kid back?
Actually, it's so funny. On when I was working on Heart of Dixie, they had the Friends set on the Warner Brothers lot where we worked. So that was definitely a place that I would frequent. Well,
Oh,
that one was really interesting in particular because they had a lot of forced perspective. So things in the background were made smaller. So if you went and stood up next to something in the background, it was actually like not proportionate to your body. So because it creates depth of frame so that you could work in a smaller space. Anyway, tricks. You should come. You should come and take a tour of Warner Brothers.
that's
Yeah, I feel like
genius.
that would be our goal at some
Oh yeah.
point. Oh, by the way, congratulations on your music coming out. Like, that's so
Oh,
exciting.
thank you. It's been such a labor of love, and it felt like it was the right time and the right energy. And, it's something very vulnerable. And for me, and sharing it has been like kind of a little bit of an act of courage. But I'm really elated with the response it's been getting. And yeah, so it's been fun to live in that world for a minute.
It is exciting because I've released some music and you've just got like that urge of where you're like, oh no, it's actually coming out, it's real. And then you just wait and you're like, what are people going to think of this? And then it's either really good or people are like, please make more, please make more. And you're like, I don't have any more right now. So you're just going to wait.
I know that's funny how like sometimes when I think, oh, I'll never write another thing, and then all of a sudden I'll get this dump from I feel like it's like raining from above, and I'm like, oh, I have to do it, I have to do it, and like have to get it out of me. But then there are those times where you just don't have any ideas, and you're like, I don't know if I'll ever have another idea again. But then you do sometimes. They just come at you.
Yeah, I'm in that process because I was like, I think I definitely need to write a song and then it's just nothing's happening. So it'll turn up when it turns up.
Yeah, I think it's like fishing. You have to stick your line in the water and see if anything's biting, right?
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
such a good
Kind of, yeah.
analogy.
It is, yeah.
Yeah, I'm totally going to use that.
I'm useless
Sure.
at songwriting, but can write poetry somehow.
If
So it's.
poetry is kind of
I
similar.
know. I don't get it. I don't get it as well. I say
I
I
guess.
don't have two. It's a different mindset. I think. I
Hmm.
think poetry is telling a story, but just you don't have that musical intake in your head where you like it needs to sound good when there's music added to it.
Well, there's so many different things you can do with your language in poetry that you can't really do in a song, right?
True, yeah. As well
Yeah.
as so many ways to do poetry as well.
Yeah,
It's
that's
crazy.
cool.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Double L Show. It's been a while, and as you notice, we're together for the very first time recording. And who better to have on our first in-person one than, would you like to introduce yourself?
Hi, I'm Brandi Burkhardt. Thanks for having me.
Thank you so much for coming on.
So the other day you released your second single, Magic, from your album, Just Like This. How does it feel to be able to tell your life story through music?
Oh, it's really the only way I can tell this story. I'm kind of a private person, and so I don't like to, especially when it deals with other people. So music is the perfect way to be able to tell these things that I'm feeling. And just like this kind of came out of, I wrote the songs individually, and then I kind of looked back at them and said, "Oh wow, this kind of all goes together cohesively and tells the whole journey." But I didn't. seek to set it up that way. So it's been really interesting to walk back through it chronologically and to like to really give a moment to each of these moments that the songs encapsulate.
Where did the inspiration come from for the song?
Well, it's kind of like that the moment where you throw caution to the wind. The first single was called Back in Time, so that's kind of how like nostalgia plays tricks on you, and it can just take you right back to a time, and you kind of buy into that moment. This is the magic is like. Okay, I'm throwing caution to the wind, and let's just see where the energy takes us. And in this song, it kind of takes us into the night. Let's see where things go, and kind of ride that magic wave. So that's what that was the inspiration for it.
Wait, oh, where's the question going? What made you decide now is the time to release more music?
It was really, Friendship was coming out. I was in this movie called Friendship that came out in May, and I I was just thinking, like, wow, I've been working for years behind the scenes on this music and been sitting on it essentially, and like kind of a little nervous to come out with it. And because friendship kind of put me back out there in public, I thought, maybe now is the time to jump and to share it with the world. Because once you've had that sacred space in the studio to create whatever it is you want to create, it's kind of like I get like very nervous in giving it away to everybody, but I've been so thrilled that the response has been so positive.
Do you remember the first artist you heard that inspired you and captured your heart?
Ooh, that's a really tough one. The first one, I'm going back here. Oh, okay. So this is going to be odd, but when I was a little girl, I used to really love Boy George. I think it was Karma Chameleon. That was like
Yeah.
one of
Oh,
my
yeah.
big ones. And actually, it also, my dad reminds me that one of my favorite songs was a Police song. Um, oh, what is it? If I built this fortress around your heart. Do you know that song? It's a Sting song.
I heard that one.
It sounds familiar. I just can't think
Yeah.
of the title off the top of
Anyway,
my head.
I liked those when I was younger, and they're both British artists, aren't they?
Yeah.
That's so funny.
I didn't know. Well, I didn't know
Yes,
that.
like Sting is in police. Is the singer of it.
See, I never knew that. I don't really pay
I'm
attention.
plus a local artist, Northeast.
Oh, I didn't
Sting.
even know that.
You didn't know that?
No,
Oh, well,
We
look,
learn
what else
something
have we
every
learned today?
day. That's so funny.
it's not really talked about though.
What, Sting?
No, everyone just talks about Sam Fender.
I mean, okay, now, yeah, but like when I was a kid, he was talked about all the time.
I must have been under a rock.
He's more American now, so I guess it's more over there.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
maybe.
What genre of music is your favorite to make?
Oh. Well, I have a soft spot for Broadway and theater stuff as well, and big orchestral numbers, the cinematic songs, because I really like to be able to use my pipes and sing really broad. And like with symphonies, that's one of my favorites. But I'm a sucker for a good pop tune. A little sweet pop drop is like, just what is the moment calls for?
Yeah, that actually links on to the next question. Did you find it hard to like sing in a different style from what you used to?
It's funny. It did take a little bit of an adjustment because I had this, when you're on stage and you're trying to sing to the back of the house and tell a story vocally, so much of your technique comes from, uh, it's important to be able to maintain a certain amount of volume and expression in different ways. And when you have a microphone right up to your mouth, you don't really need to work that hard, but you have to find expression in a smaller space. So it did take a little bit of an adjustment and just like trusting myself to be more vulnerable. It's kind of the same thing about working on in the theater and versus working on camera. You kind of have to just trust that your instrument is going to understand how to communicate in that medium.
I'll let you go because you love Broadway.
Yeah, I mean, as I was a theatre kid from the age of
Oh,
like 10 years old. So hearing that and just understanding everything you said of it's not just the singing, it's having to tell the story, it's having to express emotions through it. It's like when I see sometimes when I see like people being like, oh yeah, they're going to do these celebrities who are singers are going to be doing musicals. It's like, okay, are they just going to sing the songs or do they know they need to act the songs as well? But like, so what's it like performing on Broadway? Because the West End here is so different. The stages are so different, and over there, it's so just it's generally a show. It's not just a theatre performance, it's actually a massive show. So what is it like being on a Broadway stage?
that's so funny. The process of making theater seems similar to me wherever you go and in whatever venue you find yourself. I actually had the joy of working out in the UK when we filmed Tale of Two Cities, a version of that for PBS. And I worked with like all of these Olivier Award winners, and it was just a really great cast. And we actually wound up filming in Brighton, which also didn't have air conditioning. And there was a smoke break in the middle of the taping, which I thought was very strange. We don't do that here.
It's very
Um,
British.
Yeah.
yeah.
Surprised it's not
But
an alcohol break.
and I also remember I saw Mamma Mia, the original cast in London. So getting to do it in New York was, when that first came out, nobody had ever done a mega mix before at the end. And I had never experienced anybody standing up in the theater and dancing with the cast of the show. And it immediately made me say, "Oh my gosh, I have to be in that." And to actually be able to get to do that in New York and play Sophie was just like a dream. So,
Yeah, it's leading on to that, like Sophie is a very technical character. A lot of vocals that are really in the high pitches. What was it like performing as Sophie in Mamma Mia? Because that character is pretty iconic when it comes to musicals.
it was really awesome. You know, the movie was coming out at the same time that I was doing the show in New York. And so I just remember the overture plays and I'm sitting on the stage ready for the lights to come up. And I'm sitting there thinking, I have my little letters in my hand and I'm thinking, who let me in here to do this? I'm just by myself on the stage on Broadway, la-di-da. And I'm like, it's just like one of those out of body experiences. Um, but I just, once the downbeat started every night, it was like, wee, it's a party. Yeah.
Honestly, that's so good to hear. Like, just because every single night is you try to aim for the same. Was there any nights where maybe something was different, where something stood out to you more, where you thought that might be the best night ever of this run?
Well, I mean, I think you're always trying to find that magic in the moment. I remember when I came into the show, there were a lot of people going on vacation at the time because it was the summer and there were a lot of cast members changing hands. So I had just gotten there, and I remember during Money, 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 we would turn around. I would have to turn around upstage. And one night I saw this new girl in the ensemble, and she was so beautiful. And actually, she's gone on to have such a wonderful, amazing Broadway career. But I remember like being so stunned by like, who is this person? And then I tripped on my dress going up the stage and like kind of like fell on my face because we had a pitched stage. It's called a rake. So we were performing on an incline. And anyway, then I was just like, I couldn't get back up on my feet. It was so funny. But once you're on the stage, everybody there is working together to make the show happen. So it was just like everybody thought it was funny and everybody helped to get me up to my feet again. So you really don't feel like you're out there by yourself. You really have a great team to work with.
That's good to hear. I'm gonna hand over back to you.
Oh, I thought you would have had more. What are the audition processes like on Broadway? Because there's a lot of different ways now. I think there's
Especially
open calls at the moment
the way
here.
theatre works, I think it's mainly mixed where there's open calls and then there's, select calls.
Yeah.
I think it's still required to have open calls, and that gives everybody an opportunity to come in the room. There's also typically agent calls, so you'll have an appointment, and then with mostly casting, and then casting will pick the people that they think are the most appropriate, and then bring you into the creative team. For Mamma Mia, I think I had three auditions, which I actually thought wasn't quite as many as I had expected to have. But yeah, I was glad that they made the choice that they did.
What's your advice for those looking to do musical theatre?
Oh, just to get really good at your craft. I mean, we have such a different ability nowadays to be seen and to sing in public, and we have social media and YouTube, and there's just so many different resources to get seen. So I think sharing yourself in every capacity you can, and also learning to be a good storyteller like we were talking about before, because there are a lot of people that can sing, but you really have to be able to put your heart into it and have your own vision for a character, um, and really to live in the moment that either the song or the play calls for.
Yeah, and also to like believe what your character's saying. That's one interesting thing because sometimes people will take a role and they don't exactly know what they're getting into.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah. How do you manage to learn so many lines and songs? Any tips? Because we need them.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, I think it's just the repetition. Sometimes I also like to learn my lines before I go to sleep because I think that they're like marinating in there. So I go over them right before I fall asleep. Sometimes I'll record my lines and let them play in my ears while I go to sleep because I really think that that really helps me to not be searching for them. Somehow I know them in the back of my head, even if I don't know them like off the top of my head. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's actually really
Yeah.
good advice of listening to them so you know they're there. In
Hmm.
the way I do it.
I mean, I had to put a bet on. I said if I get 20 lines, you'll get us 20 chicken nuggets from McDonald's. Yeah.
I think that was motivation enough because you did nail it.
Yeah.
There you go. Hey, that's great incentive.
So, if you had to make a music video right now for one of your songs, which one would it be and what would the theme be?
Oh, I have so many ideas for Back in Time right now. I just love the whole idea of the time traveling, and there's like a retro vibe to the song that really takes me into different eras. I'm also super into like vintage fashion, and I love dress up anyway, but I love to just revisit different eras. So I'd really love to make each backflash a fashion moment. Yeah. So that's kind of where I would go with that one.
I love vintage fashion as well.
I saw your eyes light up as soon as it was mentioned.
Yeah, I also sew, so I've got like an
Oh, you
outfit that I'm gonna totally make at some point.
oh my gosh, you have to share it with me. I want to see.
I had one here. Is that it?
Is
That's
that
one of
it?
them, yeah. It was
Wait,
actually
do
the
you use a
first
pattern or
one.
oh, cute.
Yeah. It's not the
Do you,
best, but it will do.
do you
Just
use
simple.
a pattern or do you just kind of make it up?
Make it up a lot of the time or like trace around things. It's usually easier than buying a pattern. So
Yeah.
you just
So
end up
funny.
with
I like to sew with my grandmother, and she knows much more about it than I do. But I like to kind of start with a pattern, but then I'll go off the pattern and try to do something different. And she's like, "Wait, that's not what you're supposed to do." And I'm like, "Well, but we're just gonna make it up now because we have like a framework." But yeah, but I always carry the thread for the pieces that I sewed myself if I wear it because I just think it's gonna fall apart.
yeah, I've ripped a few. I ripped one on set. I ripped a dress all the way down the back when I was filming. It was
It
Oh
was
my
literally at the very start of the filming day. This first, we shot the first scene, and literally after it was called cut, it was, oh yeah, there's a rip in the back of the dress. We need that all day. So we tried our
oh
best to like clip it, but nothing would work. So had to be very strategic where the camera was placed as not to show a massive rip.
Oh my gosh, that's so funny. See, those are the moments you remember.
yeah,
Yeah, it's memorable.
You don't remember when it all goes right.
no,
Exactly. You remember the mistakes.
yeah.
Yeah, for
I'll
sure.
not forget it, although I forgot where I've put the dress.
Oh,
So
yeah, you have, haven't you?
yeah, no idea. I'll find it one day. If you could collaborate with any artist, living or dead, who would it be?
Ooh, probably Michael Jackson, because I mean, I think you just learn so much from him. Um, yeah, I just also would just like to see his process. I don't know if you guys saw that documentary about making We Are the World. Did you see that? It's
I
called
No.
saw
Stay in
a
Pop.
documentary about what was going to be his last tour. I saw the
Oh,
making of that.
okay. Yeah. Anyway, I just think I think he'd be a fascinating person.
I wouldn't even know how I'd answer the question myself. I just thought it
I
was
know, it's a
interesting.
hard one. It
I
really
think
is.
your vocals would match his in a way, like if he's we're doing a song together. I think it would be a very overlapping process of it. Like it would sound great. I'm picturing it in my head. I'm like, that would work.
Hmm.
Unfortunately, not be able to.
I mean, with AI, anything's possible these days.
Oh, that's
Oh,
true.
there would be, wouldn't it?
Yeah. Have you seen the Glee videos?
I've,
People
I've,
have made Glee songs, ones that they'd hope were done.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That sounds great, actually.
Yeah, it was interesting.
yeah, it was weird.
Yeah.
Because you're like, hang on, I don't remember this in the show. Oh, made with AI. That explains
Yeah, everything's made with AI.
Well, I think that question's going to rattle around in my head, and I'm going to have many answers to it. I'm
this.
going to be thinking about that one all day.
So the next part is on songwriting because a lot of people have no idea how songwriting takes place and it's different for everyone. So the first question is, what was it like working with such a legendary songwriters and what did you learn from them?
Wow. It was incredible. I mean, working with like Barry and Cynthia, who wrote like Under the Boardwalk, and they wrote all of the songs in beautiful. And they with Carole King. It's just yeah, it's kind of, you know, I thought I would understand their process more, but I think these ideas are really just gifts. And even when you're collaborating, I love that they have ideas that I wouldn't have. So I do like to co-write because of that. Because then I also don't feel like, oh, it just has to be my way. Like I'm not one of those people that think I know the best way all the time. So the more ideas, the merrier.
What was the first song you ever wrote and did you write them growing up?
Wow. What was the first song I ever wrote? I don't actually remember because I think I've always tried to not, I didn't like cultivate it early. I think I've always had ideas, but I never pulled that thread or followed that instinct. I did almost sign with a label when I first moved to New York. Um, so I have a bunch of songs from back then that I never released. So that was another reason why I thought I needed to release now because I can't keep making things in a vacuum and then not putting them into the world. So yeah, that was a roundabout way.
Where's your favorite place to write? Because there's always like a specific place where you end up
Yeah.
writing more than other places.
I find I get a lot of ideas when I'm walking. So either walking in New York City or walking my dog or just wherever my body's occupied, sometimes on the treadmill or something. Um, just something about like the kinetic energy just gets me out of my head in a way that instead of sitting and thinking, something about it flows more organically for me. Mm.
What's one of your favorite lyrics you've ever wrote and why?
Oh, um, wow. What is my favorite? Wow. That is that's a good one. Wow. You know what? It's like when people ask me my favorite movie, it's like I've never seen a movie. Um, I'm getting freeze brain. Favorite lyric that I've written. We got to come back to this one. It'll
Okay.
come to me.
I couldn't pick one either.
It's a very specific question. Like all the lyrics you probably made. What's your favorite lyric?
Well, no, I mean I should know that one actually. That's a really I should know that. I'm gonna be thinking about that one too. You guys are asking good questions.
I'm like thinking I would probably say Ragdoll, you know, the one that I completed. We went
Oh,
shopping and I
yes.
completed it there and then in the music shop I didn't have a second verse and there it was. Yeah.
You just
Oh,
sat down with and started playing and was like, yep, that's it. I've completed the song.
wow, that's awesome. When it just comes to you like that.
Yeah, it's sad the place is now shut down. So
And going back to the like very start of your career, you did beauty pageants. That's right, isn't it? So
Yep.
how did you start in beauty pageants?
Well, I went to a mall and I saw this girl wearing a crown. And I don't know, I think I always wanted to just be a princess. I think a lot of girls relate to that. And I was like, Mom, I want to do that. And I didn't really know what I was getting into, obviously. But then it actually really was helpful to me because I was a very shy girl. So if I didn't want to be a princess, then I wouldn't know how to set goals and how to achieve them and how to work for something. So it was a really beneficial thing for me. I was so shy too, so that having that platform to get on stage and to really feel comfortable in front of people was really helpful to me too.
That's really nice, yeah, especially with the confidence bit because that's obviously helped you a lot.
Mm.
How much prep goes into like a pageant?
A lot, actually. You're really working on so many facets of yourself and also kind of trying to communicate what those things are. So, um, and also trying to stay current on current events and also like trying to make your body the best that it can be. So it's definitely it's a daunting process, but it's definitely one that was rewarding for me. Yeah.
How much nerves are there before going to a pageant like that, knowing, it's a big deal?
Um, it's kind of like in the theater when you've gone through it in your head so many times that you don't really feel like it's separate from you. It's the next logical step because you've done the preparation. If you don't do the preparation, then you might feel like that deer in headlights thing. But otherwise, I mean, usually girls do enough preparation where they're not feeling like really put on the spot.
Uh, what was it like winning Miss New York?
That was really incredible. I actually expected to like have to, a lot of people have to go a couple of times to win. And I was also at NYU at the time, which was very expensive. So I did the pageant because I wanted to get scholarship money. At that time, when I had moved to New York, even though I had done Miss Teen USA, as a teenager, I didn't want to be in pageants anymore. When I moved to New York, I'm like, I'm a serious actress. I don't want to do that. But because of the scholarship program, it was really important that I be able to contribute more to my education. So I thought I was going to have to compete a couple times to win, but I wound up winning my first time around. So uh,
That's
yeah. And
incredible.
then I was already going to Miss America in like a month or two. So it was like, it was pretty fast and furious.
So what was it like competing for Miss America?
That was pretty amazing because we were in Atlantic City where it was originally held, and this is something that was part of the history of the pageant. Not so much anymore. I think they have them different places now, but being able to go to the convention center and be a part of like an old school Miss America pageant was really special.
That does sound really good. And was it pageants where your singing talents were originally spotted?
It was actually I played piano at first when I was a teenager in pageants, and I would always find that a singer would beat me. So I was like, well, I'm going to try singing. It seems like the judges like that better. And then it just turned out to be a better situation for me, a better fit. And when I was actually at Miss America, uh, a former Miss America, her name is Kate Schindel. She was just the president of equity for the Actors Union here in America. She was there when I was competing, and she actually introduced me to Frank Wildhorn because I was singing a Wildhorn song, and she said, "Oh, she would be a great person for you to work with, Frank." And so that really did a lot for me in the way of putting me in a community where my talents could be exploited and shared.
That's amazing. Yeah, that's basically the origin story of it.
Yeah, exactly.
over
And
to
she wound
England.
up being my roommate in New York for a couple of years too.
Oh wow.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
feel like there's not really pageants that really go on here. I've not
There's
really.
there's pageants, but it's like it's not as advertised or, prestigious as it is in America. Like there'll be pageants, but like there'll be little local ones, not like you don't hear about, Miss UK or anything or Miss Sunderland.
You don't hear
Stuff
about
like
that
that
there?
does go on, but it's not as advertised or prestigious.
Said that,
I
and then I remembered that my grandma was like 1963 beauty queen thing, which she
She was?
absolutely hates. Yes.
Oh, that's so cool.
Yeah,
Yeah,
she never talks
especially in
about.
the 60s was a big deal. That was like a prime time.
Yeah, she says it was biased every single time, so you bring it up. No, not allowed. I found all the articles and I'm like, oh, look at this. And she's just like, she just walks off. I'm like,
Oh, that's so funny.
what was it like working with A24? We don't really get loads of A24 content here, which is so disappointing.
You're kidding. That's
I've had to
surprising.
like most of them had to read about the films that they make. In like
Okay.
I keep like to keep in schedule with what the films they're making because I just like them as a studio. I love the way they run things.
Yeah. Do you they aren't they on Netflix too? They have some
Some of
shows
them
on.
are.
Yeah, the odd few, but then sometimes they're just gone. They'll take things off with no warning.
Yeah,
Oh
there's a lot of
goodness.
stuff that's like normally you have to be in a certain country to watch it, especially with Netflix.
Oh, that's interesting. I didn't realize that. Um, yeah, they can be tricky, huh? Yeah, it was a great, I mean, it was wonderful that they picked up this film because it was originally an independent film, produced by Fifth Season. So, even on set, I remember asking the director, like, how do they let you get away with all of this? It felt very much like he was in charge and his creative vision was being the one being explored. And when you have a big studio involved, typically you don't get that. But actually, with A24, they've really been great at giving their directors a lot of artistic vision.
That is one of the reasons why I love them, is because if you're a filmmaker and you go to them, they'll listen to you. They won't butt in. They will go give you 100% creative freedom. And that's why I love them so much, is because all their films are so unique. But
Mm,
you hear stories about, like, how it is on set. It's always great stories because there's no interference from outside sort of producers or anything. It's always 100% the director in charge. The studio just on the sidelines. They just want a
yeah,
good film to be made. They're not butting in constantly. They're just
yeah.
as an independent. I love them so much. I could rant on about them.
Yeah, that's actually really insightful because when you get corporate involved in the creative, it's a little difficult. But there's a very they play a very important part in getting these films to market and advertising them and getting them into the right hands and to be seen by the right viewers. So, but you're right, in the creative process, it's a little it can be a little tricky working with a studio that's more hands-on. So
Yeah, we know what it's like when you're trying to make something and you've got other people butting in saying, no, it should be like this, it should be like that, and you sort of almost lose the creativity that you had at the start.
yes, totally.
How does an indie set compare to, say, like a Hollywood one?
Well, they're both professional sets for sure. I think it's the difference. Like when you're on a TV show, everybody's watching everything that's going on because it's all about advertising and there's, a whole corporation behind it and how they already have the ideas of how they're going to promote it. When you're in the season and you're filming, um, you have to have the filming done by this time, and then that has to go to editing because the episode comes out on this day. Very much like what you guys do. But when you're doing independent, it feels like I mean, look, there's still a strict schedule, but I guess it's more that the artistic vision is the director's.
What is one series or movie franchise you'd love to be part of?
Oh, anything David E. Kelly. I just love anything he touches. He's so smart. He did Nine Perfect Strangers, and didn't he do Big Little Lies, and I'm obsessed right now with Ally McBeal and The Practice, and I've been rewatching those shows that I just love so much. Boston Legal, yeah, all these legal things that are they're kind of like quirky and I don't know. I guess we've gotten really serious in our world and how we talk about current events and stuff and such, especially because algorithms support that content that's kind of uh in like a little on the edge. They like the discussion to be a little edgy. And I miss the like playful discussions. So I think that's what's attracting me to these legal dramas, just the absurdity of talking about these topics.
The next question, because we absolutely love this show, we'll have to ask about being on SVU.
Oh, yes.
Have to.
Yes. What was that like? And would you have believed back then that it's going on to its 27th season?
I was also a big SVU fan. So I was so thrilled to be on that show. And it does not surprise me that it's going for 27 seasons. That's incredible. What a great gig that would be. To be on that all the time. That would be so amazing.
Ooh, I know.
My episode, I was I was killed in the episode, but you knew that at the top, so it's not really a spoiler. Um, And I was found, I was discovered in a burning building. So when we're filming, we filmed at this location where they train firefighters, and they literally set the room on fire. So I'm like just laying there dead. Like you can't move. You can't move when you're dead. So I'm just laying there, and then all of a sudden it's cold, and then they light the room up, and it's freaking hot. And then I only, my eyes have to be closed because I'm dead. And so all I can feel and hear is like I feel heat, and then I hear like metal like clanging on concrete because they use this metal thing to break through wood and debris to like maintain the what firefighters use to like actually rescue people. So it was like so traumatic, like just laying there and trying to be calm in the midst of this chaos. And that's what I remember the most. And I'm like so thankful when a firefighter gets to me and I'm like, just be dead, just be dead. You just have to be dead. And it's like, I mean, it was a lot more work than it looked like. I guess that's what I'm trying to get to.
I think I would cry.
If people say it's easy being a dead body on the show,
I know.
I would have hated to be the safety manager that day. I'd be like, oh my God, look at the stuff I need to check.
Oh
No,
my goodness. I was like, are they allowed to light this room on fire?
we love doing accents. What is your favorite accent to do?
I mean, I love a good Southern accent because that's something I go right to. Um, but I also love a British accent, but I'm not very good at it right now because you guys are making me nervous.
Well, I can switch it up and do an American if that makes it any better.
Oh my goodness, that's good.
Oh, my American accent is just very Southern hillbilly.
That's a
As you
good
can
one
have
too.
your hair.
I know,
They say
needless
that
to
those
you.
are kind of close, actually.
Yeah, Russian's kind of one I try to do most as well.
Oh,
You'll
that
never
one's
beat my
good.
Russian.
Yeah, I won't.
You'll never beat it.
Never.
No. Yeah, we've got so many tricks up our
I
sleeve
know.
and everyone gets so surprised. Where's the last? We've got two questions left unless you've got more than I have.
I've just got about three more.
How would you describe your fashion? Because your fashion is so like aesthetic.
Oh, thanks. Experimental, I guess, because I do like to try a lot of things, but I guess I'm not, it's not crazy. I mean, I just have like I want it to be classic, but I still like a vintage thing. So, yeah.
What where what's one of your favorite brands?
I really like this brand that's like old school from like, is it the 80s and 90s? It's called Mondi. I always look for those online. When I'm shopping vintage, I do a search for them. But I love like a Y2K Gucci moment and that kind of thing. But it's more the lines that I'm looking for, like and the vibe. Yeah.
We've heard some cast talk about wanting Heart of Dixie to return. Is that something you'd be interested in?
Oh, totally. I often think about like, oh, what would cricket be 10 years later? Um, yeah, I think that would be an interesting story to tell. I think everybody's had enough time away from it, and when I do meet people that are fans of the show, and it's quite often that I do, they're always like, "Oh, it ended too soon. We wish it would come back." And I think people crave that kind of a community.
Yeah, they keep taking it off here. I started watching it and then it disappeared and then it came back years later, then it's gone again, and that's the way it goes.
Well, I've noticed it's got jumped from streamer to streamer. So we were on Netflix and then on Hulu and now we're on Amazon and then we'll probably because it's licensed for so many years. So I think we'll wind up back somewhere else.
What was it like being on How I Met Your Mother?
Oh, that was a fun one. That one I was playing a Long Island girl. So, yeah, and actually it was funny for my audition. I was chewing gum the whole time, and I was like being kind of crass with it. But then when we were on set shooting, they gave my whole bit to this other girl, so I didn't have my bit to use. So I was like, "Hey, that was my shtick." But yeah, it was really fun. Had to play drunk with a bunch of people, so drunk's always fun in
What
play,
like
not in real life.
what's like the funniest memory you have of being in that episode?
I remember it was Jason's birthday. So there were a lot of people on set who weren't on in my scenes. So that was cool that everybody stuck around to like celebrate his birthday.
Oh, well, was there any difficulties playing Candace?
Difficulties, just that somebody stole my bit.
That would be
Hello.
pretty difficult, yeah.
Yeah, I was like, that was my idea. Yeah.
That's the questions I've
Yeah,
got.
Oh,
that's all of our
yep.
questions.
Also on that episode, we were also shooting in a subway car, so everything was very contained. So having cameras and people, you got really close to everybody.
Yeah,
I can relate
filming
to
in
that.
tiny locations is just not ideal.
Difficulty with it, yeah.
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 Any other?
No, I think that's it.
Well,
Thank you
this
so
was
much
really
for
fun,
coming
Tom.
on.
Yeah, thank you so much. It's been
It was
amazing
really
talking.
Yeah.
fun. Thank you so much for having me.